Hello everyone and welcome. In this video, we'll take a look at the reopening of Disney's Hollywood Studios. Once again, we're starting out here on World Drive. We're headed towards the toll to get into the Hollywood Studios parking lot. I'm cutting it pretty close on time. I'm trying to be inside the park by 10 a.m. to be able to get a boarding pass for Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. If you look close here, you'll see as I approach the toll, they're doing a shift change, and what that does is the person that's already working in the toll has to count his cash drawer down. So luckily they let me leave before they got done doing that. I had to sit there and wait for a few minutes while he first started counting the drawer, and eventually he just let me go without scanning my pass. Now if you're trying to get on Rise of the Resistance, you definitely want to get there before 10 a.m. and be inside the park. You'll notice here, right at 10 a.m., you can see how everyone's on their phone here, trying to get a boarding pass to get on the ride. Now, from what I've heard, they usually run out after about 1 to 2 minutes. By the time I got mine, I was in group 44. Now, they become available at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., but they run out really quick, and even if you get one, there is no guarantee that you will get on the ride. If the ride goes down, you would just be out of luck and not be able to go on it. Now the ride did end up going down, so you see where it gave me a 225-minute wait time. It ended up taking probably another hour or two until it was time for me to go on the ride. Now the park does look like it's a bit busy here, especially for having a limited capacity. Hollywood Studios is currently the hardest park to get a reservation for. In fact, there were none available for pass holders by the time I used this one for the entire month of August.
Welcome everybody, welcome.
Now when the park opens, there's really 3 areas that just about everyone heads to. They either go to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, they go to Toy Story Land, or to Galaxy's Edge. Now I'm heading back to Toy Story Land, and this is actually my first attempt to go on the Slinky Dog coaster. I have not been on it yet. The line is always really long, and it's been nearly impossible to get a fast pass for this one. Even though the park is just open, it already has a 30-minute posted wait time. You'll see as we get in line here, they have the barriers set up in the lines with plexiglass to go between park guests as they're waiting in line. And what they're doing is they're putting park guests on every other row of the ride.
Your party and others. Welcome to Slinky Dog Day. I'm Slinky Dog. Now, for your safety, remember to stay seated with all your parts and pieces, heads, arms, feet, legs, springs, and paws, inside the...
With Slinky Dog Coaster, I was able to go on it twice within the first hour of the park being open. We'll take a look here. This is the Alien Swirling Saucers ride. I usually skip this one. I think I've only been on it one time so far.
And maintain physical distancing. Thank you.
Fellow toys are excited for your arrival.
I told Kelly we walked towards the store.
Now, Alien Swirling Saucers and Toy Story Midway Mania both only had 5-minute waits. I'm sure you can remember back when Midway Mania was the only Toy Story ride, it would always have the longest line in the park. It was always like 45 minutes to an hour at least every day, almost right as the park would open.
I don't want to make a big deal out of this, but I need some help, and I'm getting the feeling
You can see the construction walls that are up here. This is for what will become Woody's Roundup Barbecue. It's going to be a table service restaurant. And I'm not sure if I ever noticed this fence that they put up on the back side of the Midway Mania building. Now I'm heading over to the newest ride in the park, which is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. It has a 45-minute posted wait time. Now you can see here the Star Wars Launch Bay is currently a relaxation station where you can go and take your face mask off. There's another one also in Galaxy's Edge. Now as we look back down Hollywood Boulevard towards the park entrance, you can see how the crowds have all cleared out. And they're now all basically in Toy Story Land, Galaxy's Edge, and Runaway Railway. You can see the line here for Runaway Railway. One thing I did notice, if the party in front of you has 3 or more people, sometimes it's hard to have 6 feet between you with these markers that they put out. So sometimes you have to give a little extra space, just depending, how close you want to stand to someone else in the park. I'm always trying to keep at least 6 feet. The line is actually moving pretty quick. I would say the wait time would have been quite a bit less than 45 minutes, but right as I got here to enter the building, the ride stopped and the line quit moving for probably 15 minutes. My guess is they were disinfecting the ride, but they made no announcement that that's what they were doing. That was just my guess. And you'll notice the queue area for the ride didn't change much from the Great Movie Ride. Now as we head into this room here, this is the old theater section of the Great Movie Ride. You can see they have this incredible hidden Mickey in the lights here in this room. Usually at this part of the ride, you watch a short film before the hole breaks in the screen there, and you walk through to board the ride. You actually skip that part currently, and then you go into this room where you board the ride. You'll see they also have the barriers up in here.
Railroad rider, Engineer Goofy here. For your safety aboard the train, please get
Now as we head outside of the ride, you can see they have these new stroller parking signs, which I don't think were here in March when the ride opened up. You'll notice there's some nice blue skies behind the Chinese theater, but as we look in the other direction, there are a bunch of clouds. Looks like a storm's moving in. It actually didn't end up raining that bad. Now here is the first character cavalcade. They're using these Camaros and they have these vinyl wraps on them. You can see these are characters from Disney Junior. And they have about a total of at least 3 or 4 different character cavalcades that come around the park. They have some with Mickey and Minnie. There are others with Pixar characters, so they just vary. And they kind of just come out randomly. Now it's probably about 12 or 12:30 now. And you can see as we get over here, there's a line forming at the Backlot Express. Guests are lined up for lunch. With there being fewer tables available and all guest social distancing in the lines, it causes them to come outside of the restaurant. Now we're going to go in the opposite direction. We're going to go down Sunset Boulevard. One thing I wanted to point out here, you can see the exit signs outside of the retail stores. There is a designated exit and entrance at each one. Now, of course, not all park guests follow these, and social distancing can be pretty tough inside of the stores at times. Some of them are pretty small and kind of hard to get around in, especially if you're trying to keep 6 feet away from other people in the store. Now I'm going to head to the end of Sunset Boulevard here towards Tower Terror. I opted not to go on Tower Terror. You can see it has a 30-minute posted wait time. Instead, I'm going to go over to Rock and Roller Coaster. The crowds in this area of the park are quite small. I'm going to go over in front of the Lightning McQueen Racing Academy. I still haven't been inside there yet. I think it has, it's like a show car thing. I've seen some pictures of it, but you can see it's really slow outside over here. You do get this amazing view of the Tower of Terror over here. Now, who remembers this area from the old Star Wars weekends? I remember when they had the Darth Maul over here. Those were some fun times. Those were the only times you could actually see this view of the Tower of Terror from over here. That's something I always thought they should bring back. The Star Wars weekends were super popular. I remember people would stand at the front gate. Sometimes they would camp out overnight. You can see they have this nice Gibson Les Paul over here and a Fender Twin reverb amp. Now as we head in here to the recording studio, you'll notice there's literally no one in front of me at all. Now one thing to notice as I get close to the front of the line, you'll see they have the barriers up there with the plexiglass on them on the switchback and in between the ride vehicles. I think what they do here, if I remember correctly, is for each ride vehicle, they put each party in their own ride vehicle. As you can see it launch and take off there. Now unfortunately they don't allow you to film on this ride, otherwise I would have filmed it. But you can see here the front of the line where they do have the barriers up here. Back on Hollywood Boulevard again, you can see there's hardly anyone over here now. And we're gonna look back the opposite direction towards the Chinese theater. You can see it's really slow. Looks like the crowd has thinned out quite a bit. But once we get over into Galaxy's Edge, you'll see there's quite a few people in that area. I was kind of saving it for last because I'm still waiting on my boarding group to be called. Now we're inside the Star Wars launch bay. This is the relaxation station. And you can see they're spaced out pretty good in here. There's not a ton of people in here. I only stayed in here for a couple of minutes anyways. But you'll notice as I get over to this other side here, you can see the cast member over here disinfecting the counter. And you see that in virtually every part of the park you go into. I didn't stop and film all of them, but if you're there and in the park, you can see it. As we stand outside here, you can see the whole animation courtyard is almost completely empty. And, you know, for this being the middle of July, typically this place is packed. Now as we start making our way back to Galaxy's Edge, you can see it's quite a bit busier over here. Now this is the Grand Avenue section of the park. It's hard for me not to call this the Streets of America. They still do have part of the Streets of America remain. The buildings there on the right hand side. I really wish they would have came up with a way to keep the Streets of America. That's something I definitely miss, especially at the holidays when they had the Osborne Festival of Lights. Now over here in front of the Muppets ride, you can see it's not that busy. The Pizzerizzo is open. Now we're inside of Galaxy's Edge. There on the left is the ride entrance for Rise of the Resistance. For it being such a big ride, the entrance and outside of the ride is kind of underwhelming in my opinion. I would say, in my opinion, I think Rise of the Resistance is the best ride at Walt Disney World. Now here on the left-hand side, before you head into the retail area here in Galaxy's Edge, is the second relaxation station. You can see they have table and chairs placed over there. Now the line that you see here is for Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo. They are waiting to get inside the restaurant for lunch. And over here in front of the Millennium Falcon, you can see Smugglers Run. This whole area is usually very busy, probably one of the busiest places in the park usually. And it's pretty empty right now. And Smugglers Run currently only has a 15-minute wait time, which is pretty short.
Great, love it. I'll give you credentials for the very
Food is in today. Just a few reminders. Please wear a face cover. Clean your hands often and thoroughly. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing, and maintain physical distancing. Thank you.
Now I'm passing through Toy Story Land again. You can see the crowds have died down a bit in here. It's still a little bit busy when you get near Slinky Dog Coaster, but it's not that bad. I'm just waiting on my group to be called to go on Rise of the Resistance. And to kill some time and sit down in the air conditioning, I'm gonna go over to Walt Disney Presents Theater here. I still call it One Man's Dream, but I'm going in to watch the show here in the theater. They don't allow you to film in the show, but I wanted to show you what the seating look like in here. They have every other row closed off, and you can see they have 4 seats open, 3 seats closed. And I counted, I think there are only a total of 7 people in here as I watched the film. So it was kind of nice and a much smaller than usual crowd. Now Now it's been about 6 hours by now since I got my boarding group for Rise of the Resistance, but it's now time to board the ride, you can see, and this is the standby line here. Now you can see all the social distance markings on the ground here. And once we get inside, you'll notice they also have the barriers with plexiglass on them as well. From my past experiences, when I would wait in line with the boarding group, it would take probably 30 to 45 minutes, maybe at the most. And now that I'm waiting inside, it's not so bad, because of course it's air conditioned in here, and it was really hot out on this day. Now you'll notice when we get up here, in some of the concrete work, as you wait in line, they have these benches, or these seats kind of carved out in them where you can sit down. In this spot right here, I was stuck for probably about 30 to 40 minutes. The ride went down again. So when the ride goes down, you have a couple options. They'll let you leave to go to the bathroom and come back, and you can wait in the line. Sometimes they do close the line down, I think, if they can't get it fixed in a timely manner. And you can also leave and return. Now how that works is, when you go to return, you have to go and see a cast member, because it's going to look like when they scan your pass that you've already used your boarding group for the day, and just tell them that it went down, and they can look up your number and see that you weren't actually able to go on the ride. And initially, when your boarding group is called, you get a notification on your phone, so it will tell you there. But if your battery or something's gone dead on your phone, you won't get a notification. But they do show on some of the wait times that boarding groups they're on. And you can go to the ride. There's a sign out front that shows where the boarding group is. So instead of just waiting in the line, what I did is I left. I went to get something to eat and drink and just kill some time. Time moves pretty slow when you're stuck there in the line. Then I went over to the original Star Wars attraction, Star Tours, and you can see it was basically a complete walk-on to go on this attraction. There was literally no one in the line until I got to the very front part of the line, right before where you board the ride.
Advanced Astromechs and the latest IC360 camera droids. With more flights to more destinations, why not take your tours with Star Tours? Convenient daily departures. Star Tours is not responsible for most or destroyed luggage, recent ice disruptions in service caused by imperial entanglements, meteor showers, asteroid belts, or black holes.
Well, where that this bag is now.
Automatic doors have opened. Please proceed directly across the ramp into the cabin. Continue to move all the way across your aisle, filling in every available seat. Galactic regulations require that all carry-on items be safely stowed beneath your seats. To fasten your restraint, use the yellow strap to pull the belt out from the right side of the seat and snap the belt into the buckle on your left. For your safety, remain seated throughout your flight with your restraints securely fastened, and please watch your children.
Para su seguridad, permanezcan sentados, con el cinturón de seguridad ajustado.
And it was probably a little over an hour later, the ride reopened, and when you return, what they do is they put you in the return queue, or what will eventually become the Fast Pass line. There, of course, isn't one available for it now, but it takes you right to the front of the line, basically to this area here. And then there are a few pre-show elements to Rise of the Resistance. This is the first one.
Commander 9 please report back to ITS cockpit.
Is everyone assembled? Good. Should we be in flight prep? Recruits, thank you for joining the cause. A covert resistance team led by my friend Finn has infiltrated a First Order Star Destroyer that is now.
Then the second part of the queue, you board this ship here, which is a CEC Intersystem Transport ship. And you'll see there's Lieutenant Beck here behind the controls, and they have all the numbers on the ground, so everyone's spaced out in here. And once you're on this ship ends up getting captured by the First Order Star Destroyer, and they pull you in to the hangar bay, and it's filled with stormtroopers here, as you can see. Now once you enter the hangar bay, you will go down a hallway, and they will split you up into groups depending on how many people are in your party. And then from there you go into an interrogation room.
Captain Hangers 4 and 7, report to deck officer for assignment.
You have what I want. You know the location of the secret base, and I will take it from you.
You're needed on the bridge.
Keep the prisoners here. I will return to finish this personally.
Securely fastened. Keep hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the transport and supervise your children. Tell them it's a prisoner transfer. Did it work? Good. Now get a move on. There's a clear path to the turbo lifts at the end of the hallway. Turn right. It didn't spot you. Take those turbo lifts and stay out of trouble.
Hey, you're not authorized. Wait, this wasn't a prisoner.
Just follow us. Take the lift down. We'll cover you. Hurry. No, not up. I said down.
That's going to conclude this video and our trip to Disney's Hollywood Studios. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a like, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Before you walk the red carpet, remember to double-check your FastPass Plus selections using your My Disney Experience mobile app. You can also view your star-studded itinerary at a FastPass Plus kiosk when we arrive. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Disney's Hollywood Studios. This is our final destination. All passengers must disembark at this station. Return service is available. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed the most magical flight on Earth. Please remain seated until the doors automatically open. When exiting the cabin, please supervise children, collect your belongings, and watch your step. Thank you for flying with us.
Por favor, permanezcan sentados hasta que las puertas se abran automáticamente. Al salir de la cabina, por favor, cuide a sus pequeñitos. Reúna sus